Yeah, so I want to talk about real estate in Ecuador. I'm not a licensed real estate agent or anything like that, but it's probably better for you to hear what I have to say than what a real estate professional will have to say because they're objective in their comments. So you get to Ecuador and you find a perfect piece of land. Let's say there's three options what can go down, or four options. The first option is the paperwork is completely in order. You get Linea de Fabrica. It looks good. There's one owner. He's ready to sell. And it's a pretty easy transaction. It's going to cost you about 10% in legal fees and registration fees, maybe less. And so you buy the property. That went very smoothly. That is not very often that happens. Normally what happens is you find a perfect property. The father and mother have died, and there's 9 kids. Now in the inheritance laws, these kids all have the same voice. So what happens is you find this perfect property, and one child doesn't want to sell. One person that inherited this property doesn't want to sell. Or one or two of these people that want to sell the property or that are part of this group, they want an extra $10,000 for them to sign the paperwork. There's all kinds of oddities with this inheritance law, and you got to be very careful. So a lot of times they'll ask you for $10,000 to get the paperwork in order because they can't afford it themselves. Usually the outcome is not very good when you do that. Even if you protect yourself with lawyers and notaries or whatever, you can consider that $10,000 might be just put into a burning fire. That's how bad it is. The next scenario is you find a really well-priced property, and this property has sort of like an owner who's very pushy. And this owner will say, okay, I have 4 other people that want to buy the property. I need a $5,000 deposit. And I need it today, otherwise I'm going to sell it to somebody else. And if you do give that person the $5,000, it's again putting it on an open flame. It'll just burn up. We encountered one property, we called it Techo Azul, and we found out that more than 30 people had put deposits down on this property. And a lot of these people couldn't afford to put down these deposits. So he ended up probably cashing in maybe $100,000 in deposits, and he probably to this date still owns the property. So that's another pitfall, is that they ask you for money up front to secure the deal. So my recommendations are you spread yourself wide, meaning you look at many properties. If you do that, you will end up finding one property that has the paperwork in order, and the Linea de Fabrica, which is sort of like a title search, is in order, and it will be a straightforward transaction. Unfortunately, most of these beautiful properties that are here in Ecuador are entangled in this inheritance law. I'll give an example. My property's right here, for example, and that lot has no paperwork, 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 that lot over here has paperwork, but he wants, he asked for $200,000, and the lot is worth maybe 40, 50. So you're going to encounter a lot of that where people actually increase the price just because you're from another country, and they think, oh, that person can afford to pay double the amount. There's a lot of real estate agents here too that actually get a property ready to sell, meaning that they figure out how to get the paperwork in order, how to control the siblings, how to get them to sign the documentation, and you're going to pay a premium for that because they've done that groundwork and gotten that property ready for you. So real estate in Ecuador is a very tricky situation. Look for the deals that are straightforward, title is in order, people are willing to sell, they're not asking for huge deposits up front, they do exist, and there's lots of beautiful land here to be had. The next scenario is never, ever be in a hurry here. I'll give you an example. We had a friend who bought a property up the hill here, and he was willing to give them $5,000 extra if they could get the paperwork done in a month. And now the property just sits there. So this exaggerated haste was an absolute waste of time. And he paid way too much for the land. And what happened was that the locals around here ended up, getting this idea, wow, if he got $48,000 or $58,000 for that piece of land, my land's worth $70,000. And in reality, the land is probably worth, 12, 14. But there's this sense of inflated value that that foreigners bring when they come here and throw money around. So to help everybody, it's best when you don't throw money around. It's just you almost get a local to go in and ask, what is the price of your property? Don't go in yourself. Hire somebody who's very articulate. Get them to go in and ask, what is the price for your property? Don't go in yourself, because the price probably will double by the time you show your face. So in real estate here, it's all about not being pushy to get this piece of land. Just let it come to you. It'll come, because there's not very many people buying things around here. So the real estate market is a gold mine, because there are great properties to be found. And just keep your cool, and don't flash money around. Just try to find out what the real price is. Try to pay the real price, and stick to your guns. And don't make them feel that they can keep adding to the price. When I bought this property here, it was listed at $18,000. He had offers for $18,000. I made an offer for $18,000. I said I could have the money to him the next day. He said, okay, let's do the deal. The next day it went up to $20,000, and I just said to him, I said, look, you're not doing this to me. I don't want the land anymore, sorry. Then 2-3 days later, he called me up and he says, yeah, let's do it for 20. And I said, well, the price was 18, but I said, okay, let's do it for 20, it's done. So within 1 month, I had the property in my name, and it qualified me for the investor visa, which was really important to me. So if you spend more than a certain amount and you invest in that project, you can get your investor's visa, and that will help you with your immigration papers here in Ecuador.